5th grade. I'm going to be reading chapter 24 for you today. Chapter 24. Ignoring Yashan's further questions, Yana hurried them onward, though not as quickly as before. However, Pinmay's thoughts continued to race. Eastern side, western side. Why? Did it have anything to do with Amma? If Amma was here, could they find her? Pinmay gazed upward, trying to calm herself. It was then that she noticed the beams and ceiling of the corridor were painted with hundreds of scenes from different stories. The old man of the moon with his bag of red threads, the spirit of the mountain holding up the moon as only he could. Pinmay recognized them all. Yana noticed her gaze. The long walkway is supposed to show a picture from every important legend, she said. They say a new painting appears right before a story of greatness is about to be told. I wonder what kind of magic can do that, Lady Ming said, looking up in appreciation. I don't know if I believe it, the servant girl said, even while urging them forward. But these were all created over 100 years ago by the master painter Chen, who was supposed to have a magic paintbrush or inkstone or something like that. He even painted a picture of a dragon that came to life. Is that in one of these paintings? Yashan said, teasing. Yes, Pinmay said softly. She had seen the image of a red dragon flying off a paper as they had rushed past. Anyway, Yana said, not hearing Pinmay's whisper, it's not like anyone would be able to prove it either way. You'd have to know thousands and thousands of stories to know all of the pictures. I walk here all the time and I don't know any of the ones we just passed. None? Pinmay said, her shock making her voice louder than she intended. Yashan gave a sly grin. I bet Pinmay knows all of them, he said. Yana turned and looked at Pinmay, who would have flushed if her cheeks had not already been red from the cold. Do you? Yana asked. Pinmay gave a tiny shrug and nodded. Yana stopped walking. We can take another rest, she said, and then waved up toward one of the ceiling beams. She looked at Pinmay. Do you know that one? It had begun to snow again, and despite the walkway's canopy, the snowflakes flew in like fine silver threads. But Pinmay could still easily see the painting. It was a picture of a young girl and her parents standing before a king. In the girl's arms, there was a large bowl with a smiling fish in it. It's the story of how a girl brought joy to the heart of the king, Pinmay said. Well, now you have to tell it, Yana said, and a crooked smile formed on her face. It fit her face so perfectly that Pinmay realized Yana's serious manner was a new occurrence. Can you? Of course she can, Yashan said, and Lady Ming nodded in agreement. Pinmay hesitated, but looked at their expectant faces, proud, encouraging, daring, and felt the stone of Amma's bracelet on her wrist, strong and smooth. Pinmay took a deep breath, and when she exhaled, the air streamed from her mouth, curving like the tail of a dragon before disappearing. She began the story. The story of how a girl brought joy to the heart of a king. When the first king of the city of Bright Moonlight came to power, the people had no love for their new ruler. The past ruler had taxed them heavily and punished them harshly, and they had no hope for better. So when word came that the new king was coming to visit, all trembled. He's coming to see if he can raise our taxes, a woman wailed. Anything he sees he will take for a tribute, another cried. The village began to panic and hid their most valuable possessions. Gold ingots, ivory chopsticks, even prized crickets were secreted away. Anything beloved or cherished was put out of sight. One girl in the village had a special treasure. It was a fish. But it was not an ordinary fish. It was a fish of great beauty, silver like the moon and as lively as a butterfly in spring. The girl claimed she had found the fish in a rubbish pile outside a rich home when she traveled to a far town, but no one believed her. Even when she pointed at the fine scar that ran through the fish's fin, where she said she had mended it, her parents told her to stop being ridiculous. Nevertheless, the fish was admired and beloved by the whole village. The youngest child to the oldest, grumpiest elder would come daily just to see it. "Your little fish," the girl's mother told her, shaking her head with a smile. "It brings joy to the heart." So, of course, when the news of the king's visit was heard, all expected the girl to hide her fish. "I can help you make a special cover to hide the tub," one villager offered. "There might be room in my hollow tree if you want to hide it there," another said. But the girl shook her head. Instead, she kneeled beside her fish, deep in thought. "You must hurry," her mother scolded her. "If you don't find a place to hide your fish, the king will take it when he comes." "He may have it," the girl said. "It will be my gift." "What?" her father said. "Don't be silly. The king doesn't need your fish. He will just take it and your treasure will be lost." "How can you say that?" the girl said. "A king needs joy brought to his heart, too." The parents looked at each other and nothing more about the fish was said. When the king arrived, he was saddened by his reception. He knew the people did not trust him, but he did not know how to gain their faith. He received each obligatory gift, knowing that the good wishes that went with it were false and the respectful bows were shallow. "It is not even worth trying," the king thought, gloom overwhelming him. "I will return to the palace today." "More villagers, your majesty," a servant said. The king looked up, expecting to see another family with smiles of clenched teeth. Instead, he saw a glistening fish frolicking in the water. It jumped a perfect arch, its scales shimmering a rainbow, then divided straight down, splashing the king with such glee he could not help laughing aloud. "See," the girl said to her parents, "I told you." The king wiped the drops of water from his face, but the smile remained. "What do you mean?" the king said before the girl's parents could hush her. "What did you tell them?" Slowly and uncomfortably for the parents, the story was told. The king wiped his face again, but this time the wetness was not from the splashes of the fish. "You are right," the king told the girl, and his deep black eyes met her shining ones. "A king does need joy brought to his heart. I thank you for doing so." "But I cannot take your beloved fish from you," he continued. "You may keep it." "Oh, no," the girl said, and the parents put in hastily, "It's our tribute gift." "It would be unfair to the other villagers," the king's assistant murmured, "and it would break tradition." "Ah, yes," the king said. He looked again at the twinkling fish. "Then let me make it a gift. I will set it free in the lake, and it can continue to bring joy to the hearts of all the villagers." "But what of your own?" the girl asked. "The fish has already brought joy to my heart," the king said, "as have you." And all the villagers who witnessed this exchange felt a stirring within them as well. Perhaps, they thought, they had judged this new king too quickly. They began to whisper kinder and more hopeful words about the king. And those words traveled with him as he carried on his tour. Because instead of returning to the palace, the king continued going to each village so he could become the leader he wished to be, heartened by the joy brought by the fish. "I like that," Lady Ming said as Pinmei finished, "especially because the first king of the City of Bright Moonlight is known for being the greatest ruler in this city's history. All his descendants, including King KJ, revere him." "Well, it's too bad it's just a story," Yana said, her crooked smile appearing again. The wind loosened a lock of her hair and it danced freely among the flying snowflakes. "But it was a good one."